Hey guys, how are you? So tonight I'm going to be making myself beef fillet steak with polenta and vegetables. I'm going to share my recipes with you on a daily basis, and I'm going to let you know what the calorie counts and the protein quantities are. And if you guys are keen and you want to check it out, please hit me up with a follow. And yeah, I'll show you what I do along the way. But first, I'm going to start off with half a glass of red wine. So the first thing I'm going to be starting off with preparing tonight, because it's the thing that's going to take the longest to get ready, is the polenta, which is an Italian cornmeal that you boil with water, adding a couple of different options. Butter is a basic one, and then you can go from there. I like to add either coconut milk or cream, or perhaps even a little bit of mustard. So I'm going to get that going. I'll show you what it looks like, and it's really great, low in carbs and super tasty, one of my favorites. So polenta has come to the boil, so I'm just going to whisk it, give it a bit of a stir. Hey, all right, being careful, and just making sure that it doesn't stick to the pot. I'm going to turn us down to a simmer. So what we're going to do with the polenta is we're just going to give it a nice stir, making sure that it doesn't stick to the pot, and that we keep the consistency nice and creamy. Okay, so next stage of dinner, I'm going to start preparing the fillet. So I've taken this fillet, I bought this from Spar in Port Elizabeth in Gourmet. It was I think about 179, 180 Rand a kilogram, and it's really great fillet. And for those of you that are interested to know, I use Global Chef's knives, imported from Japan. This is sort of a entry-level professional grade chef's knives. I love Japanese knives more than the Western knives. They're a little bit lighter and thinner on the blade, nice and easy to handle. And if you're interested in learning how to handle a knife and cut, you can let me know, and I'll do a little series on that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start preparing the fillet. I'm going to cut it up into nice medallions. Okay guys, so I've put the pan on for the fillet steak that we're going to do now. I've shifted the polenta over to the other side, it's almost done. The steaks I'm going to do sear on a super high heat. So I've got the gas burner running on full, and I'm just waiting for the pan to heat up. It's not quite ready. I want to sear the steaks, so I'm going to do each side, and then I'll do the edges as well, just pan seared. Then I'm going to bring the heat down a little bit, and I'm going to finish them off. Don't forget that when you're cooking your steak, once you take it off of the heat, it still continues to cook because of the heat within the meat that you're cooking. So if you're wanting to cook something medium rare, you kind of have to cook it just past rare, then take it off and let it sit, and then it'll drop into a medium rare. So I'm going to do mine rare in the pan, take them off, let them sit, and then they'll be exactly perfect for the way I want. Okay, so we've got our fillet medallions ready. I managed to cut out of the piece section in half the piece of fillet. I used the other half a couple of nights ago. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medallions out of this, and then whoop, I have a little tail left as well. All right, so it's feeling about right. I'm going to take my medallions and I'm just going to put them end down on the pan. You can hear them hitting the pan, nice high heat. All right, so you can hear them working there, you can see the meat. And I haven't put any seasoning on my steak yet. I prefer to do that afterwards. I know that's not standardly traditional for cooking and chefing, but that's the way I like to do it. So we'll give these a little turn quickly. Nicely seared. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep pressing them down to make sure they keep the shape and the size that I want for my plating. So the olive oil I'm using in my kitchen tonight is a Willow Creek. I get this from Woolies. Any of the Woolies has it. I really like this. It's a nice quality oil, and it also comes in a spray bottle, which I love. And what I like to do when I'm cooking any of my meats, whether it's on a gas stove or on open coals, I always love to give it a bit of a spray with olive oil just to keep it nice and moist. Okay, so steak's looking really good, seared on the outside. It's almost done. If you want to, you can leave it in the pan to finish off the cooking process. I like to sear each side and then take them out and finish them off on the cutting board. Okay, so I've taken my medallions. I'm not going to bother to use this. I've taken my medallions off the stove. I want them to sit a little bit, so I'm going to put them back on the cutting board. Please remember that if you have cut on the same board that you're placing on now, probably a good idea to wash the board first. South Africans, I don't think we mind too much, so I'm just going to bang these out here to give the board a wipe down. So obviously the steak is super hot, like boiling hot to the touch. So when I place it on the cutting board over here, it's not finished cooking. While I leave it sitting here as it's cooling down, because of the heat inside the meat, it's going to continue to cook a little bit more. Alright, so steak is done. Going to let it sit and settle and finish, and then we're going to go on to the... Okay, so polenta is ready to rock and roll. I'm just going to show you what it looks like very quickly. Basically looks like kind of like a porridge. So what I'm going to do to just finish it off is a little bit of butter. So please don't look at what I'm using here. This is a spread. It's not an actual butter, but it's what I have in the house I'm going to use. I'm not cooking towards or from like an actual recipe, so I kind of just put in what I like and make a noise. So that was a couple tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add in a little bit of salt. And salt to taste, whatever you like. You don't want to put too much in because you're going to completely overpower it. A little bit of pepper, black pepper. This one comes out fast. And then tonight I'm going to add in a little bit of Dijon mustard as well. So when I say a little bit, big tablespoon. Alright, and now it's time to mix it all in. So what you'll find with the polenta is, for South Africans, it kind of goes like pup. So when it cools down, it gets kind of almost lumpy in a way. So while it's still nice and hot, it's going to melt the butter, and I'm going to mix it all in. It's going to make it nice and smooth and creamy. Okay, so what I'm going to use to plate my food tonight, because I want it to look really aesthetic on the eye, is I'm going to use this plating ring. So about 1.5 inches thick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down onto the plate. I'm going to put the polenta into this, and I'm going to level it off, compact it a little bit. And then this plating ring comes with a little dome on the top, so you can push whatever you're putting down in there. And then what you're going to do is pull this plating ring off, and it's going to leave it in the nice same shape as this. Hopefully you guys can see. So I've got my plate here. I have to decide where I want to put my ring of polenta. So I'm going for dead center of my plate. So I'm just going to place the plating ring over here. Make sure it's seated nicely. And then all I'm going to do is start dropping the polenta in. So I'm going to put it in. Just make sure that it's spread as much as I can with the spoon. Don't want to put too much in that it overflows. So I'm going to push it down a little bit with a spoon and add a fraction more. Just like that. Right, then I'm going to take the lid for the plating ring. I'm going to put it on top. So not too much pressure, but I just want to push it down so it's nice and firm. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a little bit of pressure on the lid of the plating ring, and I'm going to pull the plating ring up. So I want to put enough pressure down that when I pull the plating ring off, that the polenta holds the same shape. So I'm going to put pressure on the lid, pull the ring up. I'm going to lift that off, put it on my board, and as you can see, a nice perfect round shape of polenta. So because of the consistency of polenta, once it dries out, it kind of becomes, it's quite thick, thicker than mashed potato, and you can just heat it up in the microwave and use it again the next day. But what I've done here is, because it's quite firm and holds it consistently, I've used the plating ring and I've done 2 more over here with the leftover polenta. Those can go into a Tupperware or onto a plate with cellophane wrap over into the fridge. So if I want to use them again tomorrow, they're nice and neat and ready to go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my medallion and I'm just going to cut straight slices, not too thick. Oh, steak is done perfectly. Looks like I need to sharpen my knife. So bearing in mind, not everybody likes their steak done exactly the same, but pop that out of there. Look how good that is, perfectly rare. So I tend to not eat too much in the way of carbohydrates, especially at night. So what I'm going to add in tonight is some plum tomatoes, and because I didn't have time to get fresh asparagus, I'm going to bring in some tinned asparagus as well. So depending on how creative you want to be with your meal and what type of flavors you're looking for, so bearing in mind, if you're just looking to make an amazing meal and you don't care about your calorie content, that's one thing. If you're looking to meet specific macros, that's another thing. I've taken an avo, cut it in half, and I'm just going to use this half. I'm going to quickly peel the skin off the avo, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it from there. So what I've done is I've taken the avo, I've peeled the skin off, and then I've sliced it up without separating the pieces into small pieces, and then what I've done is I've laid it down flat on my board here and I've fanned it out to look like that. What I'm going to do next, because I want my dinner to be super pretty, I'm going to take my plating ring and I'm going to push it down over this fan section of avo so I get it cut out in a round shape, exactly the same size as the rounded polenta I'm going to use. Making sure that my avo pieces are spread evenly and as flat as possible. Taking my ring, and it doesn't matter, I'm going to have some offcuts, which is fine. I'm going to put it down dead center, and I'm just going to push it down onto the avo. Obviously, because it's soft, it's just going to cut right through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the pieces on the outside of the ring, so I just get the piece left that I want to use. Okay, so there's my leftover pieces, and if you look inside the ring, there's my beautiful piece of avo. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lift it up using my knife under the ring and keeping it in the ring so I can place it perfectly. Okay, so you can see I've slipped the knife under the plating ring. I'm going to pick everything up, place it perfectly on top of the polenta. Alright, so there it is, perfect on top. I'm just going to use a bit of down pressure. I'm going to lift the ring off. And I'm going to take the camera off quickly and show you how amazing this looks. So there is my avo plated perfectly on top of the ring of polenta. And that is our dinner, prepped and ready to go. So for this particular meal, I haven't actually weighed everything out, but the polenta is roughly around 100 grams of polenta. The fillet is a little bit low on the count for the protein of what I need. This is probably only about 75-80 grams of steak, and that is not 80 grams of protein. That's the cooked weight of the actual steak. And then I've added asparagus pieces, the plum tomatoes, and blueberries for decoration. And then I've added one of my favorite things, toasted sesame seeds that I've sprinkled over the meat. And there we go. That's our meal for tonight.